Today we have, well, a gorgeous maple burl. This was brought to me by my friend Kerry. He brought it so long ago, I think it was maybe 20 minutes ago, and I told him this is going to be my next piece because why wouldn't it be? And I've got it on the turntable there so you can see all of the fantastic features of this piece of maple. You got compression grain here all over the place. You got chatoyance showing up before it's ever even turned or sanded or anything else. You've got this massive burl here in the middle, a little spalting in there. This piece has it all, and I just can't wait to get at it. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as we like to say here at Shady Acres Woodshop. Howdy, let's take a closer look at it. I'm way back here to get the whole thing in the picture. It's not that big. It's 15 inches in diameter, about 5.5 inches thick. Kerry has already marked the center spot there. And that's the way I'm going to turn it. That's going to be the top side. Very unusual for me, but that's going to get turned away anyway, even if I turn it this way. And I think we're going to see so much burl inside this piece and so much compression grain and chatoyance that it's going to be just fine, just being a round bowl with lots to show for itself. So let me drill that hole. I'll get it mounted up on the lathe and we'll get to turning. I did want to tell you, Kerry has his own website, and he's an unusual guy, a very nice guy. He built his own lathe. It's not a wood lathe, it's a bowl lathe. He strictly turns bowls, and his website is handturnedwoodbowls.com. handturnedwoodbowls.com. And you can go there and read about him and see some pictures of some of what he's done, and I think he's got pictures on there of his lathe, which, like I say, he built. He makes his own tools, and what does he make them out of? Suspension parts from old cars, leaf springs. You need to take a look at his website. And he sells some of his stuff, he tells me. I didn't see any for sale on his website, but if you email him or something from there, I'm sure he could hook you up. And I'll put this information down in the description as well. Yeah, it's going to be out of balance for a while, but I think, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to come into balance or not. I guess it will. Looking at this now, see, I was so excited I didn't really look at it all that closely before, but I'm going to have to do a concave bowl, so it'll be higher out here, lower in here, and thinner up this way, because that's pretty much the way the piece is all the way around. But that's okay. I'm so excited for this, I can't even tell you. Look at this compression grain. There's lots of it. Okay, I wonder what kind of speed we can get. Just from comments and people talking to me, I've learned that newbies are afraid to approach something like this because of all the air that you're turning. You got a big chunk here, and then you got nothing over here, and it's, I guess it's a little intimidating. I guess I probably felt like that in the beginning. It's been so long now I've kind of forgotten, but probably I felt the same way. Don't worry about it. You're just going to nibble this away. We're only going to be turning at 350 RPM, which is actually a decent speed for a piece this size. It's not too bad. But just nibble at it. Just nibble at it. You'll be amazed how quickly this comes into round. You know, probably 10 or 15 minutes and it'll be round. You can handle bump, bump, bump for a while. That's not that big a deal. Just put your tool firmly on the tool rest and guide it along. Nip, nip, nip. Don't try and do this. Don't try and take great big bites. It's going to cause you nothing but trouble and heartache, and you're just not going to like it. Just nibble away. 10 or 15 minutes, we'll have this round. So again, 350 RPM, 5/8 inch bowl gouge, mask, and face shield on. Well, it's round everywhere but right here, and we could choose to leave that if we want to, and we might want to, so I am going to leave it for a bit and come down here and start working on the bottom and the side profile a bit. Well, maybe I can pick the speed up. I'll see. About 400 RPM. Now we're getting there. Probably going to come up this far right here, another half an inch or so. But not until I sharpen up. Well, we're very close. I know we're a lot bigger in some places, but I'm looking here and here. Well, maybe it's okay. Let's see what we can do over here on this corner for a while. Oh, and by the way, it was round within 5 minutes. Let's see what that looks like. We might be able to keep some of this cool nature in here. Of course, I have to thin down this edge. It's a little thick, isn't it? And I didn't plan on leaving it anything like that. Let me think about it a minute. I am going to go further. I am going to dish it out, like I said. And I think I picked the speed up to what? I forget now. Almost 500 RPM. And I sharpened my bowl gouge, so let's get back at it. Yeah, that's a nice sweeping curve. That's what I was after. I don't know if that's worth keeping. We only have this left. A little bit right there. But that might be enough. And we might lose this because I don't have this tapered all the way down, but I'm not sure how flat the top is. So I was saving a little. Maybe I will flatten off that top. I'm also going to see if I can pick the speed up any. Another 700 RPM. Well, we got a beautiful outside, but I think the inside's going to be even better. Okay, we'll come down here to the bottom and finish that up and put a tenon or something on there. I'm going to cut this nub off, just in my way now. Lay out for a tenon. Well, I did mark out for a tenon, but it was my small chuck jaws, and I'm going to use the big ones on this, so I'm going to remark it. Not necessarily because I need it for strength, but because I think with what we're going to have left after we've removed that tenon and this and the basin and what's going to be taken away from the tenon, I think it's going to look better being large on a piece like this. But the small tenon would have held it no problem. Now I'll use my 1/2-inch bowl gouge to make the tenon. Now I'm going to use this diamond point tool to put a dovetail on the side of the tenon. And that's good. Now we just need to finish up our side profile, just clean it up a little bit. Well, now that I'm looking at it, I don't see any tool marks or anything. There's nothing really I can do. I'm good. Time for sanding. Off camera, just because there's such a small amount and because you've seen me use my Sandal Flex so many times, I used it to run over this and this and this area right here. Nothing else needs it. And I just did 180 grit on that. Then I went to 240. Okay, and now I'm ready to start at 120 grit to sand the bowl. I'll have the lathe spinning in reverse at about 200 RPM, and I'll show you what that looks like as soon as I get my mask on. I'm just sanding that beveled edge on the top there. And then what I'll do is peel this off after I've done everything. I'll peel this off and just sand the interior here by hand. I'll just take one of my discs and go like that. Up through 400, I'll bring you back here in a bit and we'll put some sanding sealer on there. See you in a bit. This piece is so big, I'm probably going to have to apply this sanding sealer differently than I usually do to get enough on here. If I decide to do it, it's going to be awkward for me because I've never done it really. But to get enough on here, I'm going to have to, I'm thinking of dripping it on here from this squeeze bottle while it's spinning. And I've seen lots of people do it. I've never done it. I'm a little afraid to do it. I'm afraid it's going to go everywhere. But I don't think I can get enough on there using a rag. Well, it sanded up beautifully, as you might imagine. No issues at all. Just nice and round. No skipping about. I've got to get this done. I started a little bit earlier today than I usually do because I'm going to be having a shindig here today. Well, shindig for me. A weenie roast for everybody else. It's just the family, but there's 12 of us. And Kelvin came up a couple of days ago and helped me. Some of the furniture washed off and pressure washed and that sort of thing around the fire pit, all cleaned up. And I did my shopping, so I have all the food we need, although they'll probably bring some side dishes or something. First time since my wife passed, which is over 6 years ago now. Something we used to do all the time. Everybody came here for everything. Everybody's birthday, everybody's anniversary, everybody's whatever. Christmas, Easter, 4th of July. And I just haven't done any of that. But we got the playground all cleaned up down there. They can play basketball, they can play tetherball, they can ride bikes, scooters, whatever they want to do. I graded my driveway, which I haven't done for probably 3 years. You see any chatoyance in there? There is some. Right here, here, over here. Well, I'll give this a try, see how it works. So I might skip the shellac on this piece. I might just put on 2 coats of sanding sealer. Oh well, see, I didn't do what I said I was going to do. I might skip the shellac and use axe abrasive over that, inside and out, and that'll make it food safe. I guess that's working. I don't see it spitting out all over the place. It looks like it's pretty well coated to me. Oh yeah. Yeah, I guess that worked. And something I learned from gored rock, I don't talk about this, but I've got this spinning at about 87 RPM, and then I've got a fan sitting here, and after I turn the camera off, I've been doing this, just letting it run, and turn the fan on and let it dry that way, and that keeps any runs from happening, and it helps dry the piece a little quicker. So that's what I'm going to do. It's done, the first coat's done, so now I'm just turn my fan on and just let that run there for 10 minutes or so. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in today. I truly appreciate it. Later. I don't get to use this often, so I was going to show it to you, but I'm not going to show you the whole thing. It's pretty boring to watch. I am going to use the Axe Abrasive Sanding Paste. I just don't get to use it very often because most of my pieces are, you know, they have bark on them and they have cracks and voids, and it's hard to get this into, and then even harder to get it out of all of those places. So I don't get to use it much, but it's good stuff. And maybe if you listen close, you can hear it working. That's the grits in it that are scratching the surface just slightly. And so you rub it in like this. This is the way I do it. I don't know how other people do it. Then you turn your lathe on. I like to do about 200. It depends on the size of the piece, but for this, about 200 RPM. And just hold it against there. And just keep rubbing it in like that. Now, where was I? Right here. Just keep rubbing it in, like with it spinning. After you get it all coated. And I'm just going like this. This is all I'm doing. This is a paper towel. And I'm just getting some on it. And then turn the lathe on at a relatively low speed. And just hold your paper towel against the piece. And let it do its work. And you'll hear eventually that scratching sound goes away. That means you've done your job. Then find a clean spot on your paper towel. I just switch over to the other side or open it up and turn it the other way, whatever, and turn the speed up. And you might do that a couple of times. Depends on the size of the piece, and you have to decide that for yourself. And you don't have to use a lot, but you have to use more than a tiny bit. Get it on there. Work it in. After the low speed, then find a clean spot, turn the speed up to maybe 1,000 RPM or whatever is appropriate for the piece you're using, you're working on. What you're doing then is building up heat to melt it into the finish, and you just keep changing your paper towel to either get a fresh paper towel or keep unfolding it and refolding it until you find a clean spot, and just keep buffing it until no more comes off on your paper towel, and then you know you're done. And then I like to let it set. I'm about to go to lunch here. I like to let it set for a while. If you don't, it'll leave fingerprints if you start handling it. So I like to let it set for at least a half an hour. And then just go like that. And then do the same thing at a higher speed. That's all. That's all you gotta do. And just keep finding a clean spot. Get a new paper towel, whatever you have to do. And you will have a beautiful, food-safe finish. And I'll do that on the inside as well. But now I'm going to turn the camera off because, like I said, it's boring. And I'll finish this up and go eat my lunch, and I'll be back and we'll turn it around and hollow out the inside. See you in a bit. We're going to be turning at 800 RPM, 5/8 inch bowl gouge, mask, and face shield on. Lots of nice curlies coming off of here. I'm not gonna lie, this is a tough turn, and you wouldn't think so, but boy oh boy. I think I've sharpened 4 times, and I just came back from sharpening. I guess because it's so big, it is hard wood. It's maple. Look at the color we're getting in here on the Burl Wood. I'm digging on it. I just came in from taking a break and reading some of your comments on my new video that came out yesterday, and you guys seem to like it, and I appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. We're going to get back at it. Oh yeah, see? See, pretty. I made the decision to make this a little heavier than, I made a very similar shaped bowl, I don't know, 3 weeks ago maybe. Very similar, exactly the same, really. It was just way, way smaller than this. It was maple, it had the beveled edge, it had the same outside contour, but those walls were, if I remember right, were they 16th inch thick? I think so. And these are 3/8, and I'm going with 3/8. I want this to be a heavy, substantial bowl. I'm gonna almost call it a piece of art, just because of all the wonderfulness in here. But it's big. It takes time. Ooh, that's pretty. Well, we're getting there. Let's see. Oh boy, are we ever. We're down to about 3/4 of an inch in the bottom. I didn't know that. I gotta go sharpen up. I think that'll do. I'm afraid to scrape it, burl like that. It's delicate. But I don't have a bottoming gouge. I'm happy. Whew. Time for sanding. Well, I gotta tell you, I made a mistake. Because I'm using the big jaws, I have a lot more room to move around down there with this. And so I was getting on the bottom of the tenon when I said it was, what did I say? I said 3/4 of an inch. And it's still 3/4 of an inch. But we're not going to the bottom of the tenon. We're going over here alongside the tenon. And that is 1/4 inch. Oh my God. I can't believe I almost kept going. That's what happens when you get tired or old or senile or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm starting the sanding at 100 grit, working up through 400. I have the lathe spinning in reverse at 200 RPM. I'll bring you back here in just a bit and we'll put some sanding sealer in there. See you in a bit. Alrighty then. Sanding took a long time, just like it did on the outside. Only even a little bit longer because the outer edge here, the beveled edge, isn't exactly beveled. It's kind of dished out like the side of the bowl is, so I had to hand sand that. I was afraid if I sanded it under power I would flatten it off, and I like the little dished out part about it. This is some kind of beautiful bowl. I don't know if I'll ever do another one quite like this again. I don't know if I mentioned, but Kerry did bring another piece. I think it's even bigger than this. And it's all burl. The whole piece is burl. Well, I'm afraid to try and put it on from the bottle because I'm afraid it'll sling all over the place. I don't know. How would I do that? I don't want it running down here onto the outside. I don't know. Maybe. Don't make a mess, Phil. That's pretty heavy on there. Good. And to be honest, I forgot about this edge. When I was sanding inside here, I just completely forgot about the edge at all. That's not true. I remembered at 100 grit, and then I forgot until about 180. And so I stupidly sanded it at 180 and 240, and then I looked at it, and no, that does not work. So I had to start all over again. I started at 80 and worked up through 400. You just can't skip grits like that. And if you look closely, maybe you've already noticed, look at the edge. You see it has a little bit of a wobble to it. That's just, I guess it's just the wood, de-stressing because it's so big. All right, well, I think I have it covered pretty well. So I'll repeat that for a second coat and then go to the axe abrasive. I'll bring you back and we'll take the tenon off. See you in a bit. I've mounted a block of wood up in my chuck. I'm going to place a non-slip cloth over that and bring up the bowl and bring up my tailstock. I still have that center hole there for reference so I can drive my live center into that. Bring up the tool rest, apply a little pressure. We'll spin the piece up, see if it's running true. It is. I was a little worried about that wobble that it developed, but that's more towards the top edge, I guess. Turn the speed up to about 530 RPM. Going to grab a 1/2 inch bowl gouge and commence removing that tenon. At least part of it, not all of it. We'll stop and check for clearance, and we have clearance. Yeah, that's about as far as I want to go. I like leaving that little button in the middle. Adds a little extra visual interest. Now I want to raise my tool rest a little bit, get a little bit closer, and I'm going to switch to a 3/8 inch swept-back bowl gouge so that I can get in there closer. Just keep working it away. I'm going to slow the speed down to about 300 RPM. Now that's really small. I'm going to slow it down to about 200 RPM. And I'm going to apply the bevel of the gouge against the bottom of the bowl. Pressure towards the headstock. Right hand on the gouge, left hand on the switch. And when the little nub stops turning, we'll know we're through. Now I'll just take this over here to the workbench, sand that up, sign it, get it finished, and I'll be right back. Be sure you stick around to the end of the video so you can see the before and after shots of this piece. If you'd share the video, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Well, here it is. One maple burl, big old bowl in the books. And it's a big one. And it was a lot of work. Not hard work, just long work. Long time. Just because it's so big, no other reason. And I did have to sharpen a lot because, you know, it's maple and it's hard and like that. And there's the bottom all finished up. I like that little button in the middle. It's just an extra little something, and I like that over there, of course. And a little one somewhere else right there. The walls are 3/8 of an inch thick. Up here, it's probably 5/8. It looks like it's close to 3/4. I think it's 5/8. But then it tapers in, so it's thinner below. But not too thin. It still has a little bit of weight to it. Not a lot, but it feels substantial. Feels like you actually have something in your hands. I'd say it's a salad bowl, but man, that's a lot of salad. Have to have a pretty big group for that. Fruit bowl maybe. You like the little dish out that I did there? I do. Just a real pretty piece of wood. There's some chatoyance. There's a little bit of color right in here. I don't know why. There's not really on the outside in the same place. Well, there is that one darker streak running through there, I guess. Anyway, it finished up nicely. I'm glad it's done. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I have it. I don't know what I'll do with it, but I'm glad I have it. And I hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you, Kerry, for bringing this along for all to enjoy. If you like this video, thumbs up, please. I'd sure appreciate it. If you are a subscriber, thank you very kindly. I truly appreciate that. I also appreciate that you took some of your time to spend with me today. That means a lot to me. Thank you. I'm looking forward to your comments. So for now, this is Phil, Shady Acres Woodshop, signing off.